I had an agent that used to work for me when I ran my real estate company, and I didn't like what he used to do, even though he said to me to shut up because he was getting me business. And that was he was working in a marketplace against another female that had three kids. And he would go to the appointments and he'd say, listen, if you go with her, I'm letting you know, don't expect anything extra. She's a 9 to 5er. And he'd actually go on and say, like, I see what my wife does with two kids. She's got three kids. And my wife is working, is at home full time. I'm curious, has that been used against you, the four kids in real estate?
Yeah, it absolutely was. The first time I knew it was a thing is when I lost out on a listing, and I'm always very respectful when I lose a listing. I'll call the client and ask for feedback about why, but I always wish them the best because I do want them to have a successful sale. But I said out of curiosity, why did you choose the other agent? What was it that I didn't do enough of, or what did you feel? And she said, look, we really love you. We connected with you. We trust you. We know you work hard, but we just think given what other people have said, that you're probably really busy at the moment with your new baby. And when I heard that, I, I really had to take some time. And then I was like, okay, I've got to hide the kids. I've got to hide the kids. I've got to pretend like I don't have them. But then I got to a stage, and that actually wasn't so long ago, where I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm confident with who I am. I can bring good results. If a client engages me to sell their home, they are at the top of my priority list along with my family. I will do anything for them. And I know that I'm good at what I do. So I thought, I'm going to flip this on its head. I can't hide anymore. I took the pressure right off of myself. I even went as far as doing a billboard recently that had me in the middle, sitting composed with my four crazy kids around me. And that said, nurturing your family's next move. And from that billboard, like, it was a pretty bold move for me because I was exposing something that I was kind of scared of exposing. And the feedback from that's been amazing. I've had mums and families come forward, and yeah, it's been a really, really beautiful feedback from that.
Okay. So what you're saying, I actually think that when you portray an image on social media of being bulletproof and a robot, you relate less to people. I think one of your advantages, Louise, is when you're sitting at a vendor's house, you know what they're going through.
Absolutely. Mhm.
So you can actually bring this into the conversation, and then people like dealing with people that are like them, right? So I actually think not by not hiding it, but actually using it as a competitive advantage, you can actually devastate your competitors because people will feel more relatable in a world where people are time poor, they're crazy rushing, dropping kids off to school. When they see a real estate agent and they realize she's just like us, actually, it's just that her job is in real estate. I think it can actually help you, not harm you. And
Mhm.
you're saying to me that is the case.
That's exactly the feedback I've been getting.
If there's one quality I've noticed of high performing agents is they're competitive and they hate losing, right? And to the point, I actually said it to an agent this morning. He goes, every time I look at my competitor on Insta, it gives me the shits. And I said, well, if you want to have the shits less, don't look at your competitor on Instagram. And
I've
he says,
actually,
Dom,
sorry, it sounds terrible and I don't want to sound savage, but I've actually blocked a lot of people in my competitors, I guess, and also don't want people watching what I'm doing because it's distracting. I just want to focus. I just do what I do and I do it as well as I can. And that's all that matters. You don't need to see what everyone else is doing. I find that really, that derails me if I go down that avenue. And Steph's always taught me that just stay in your own lane.
I'm the same in the training space, right? I'm not an agent in the training space. I had someone that had actually rang me up and they said, "Oh, hopefully next year we'll get you to come to our conference in New Zealand. I know that you're not traveling. This is about 3 years ago because you've been unwell and you're not traveling." I said, "Who told you that?" And they told me it was another trainer. And I said, "Are you serious?" I said, that's not the case. Anyway, cut a long story short, I actually thought to myself, the reality is people can say everything they want to say, but if you control your own social media platforms, right? If they're seeing that you are in fact traveling, if they're seeing that you are in fact working at 7 o'clock at night, right? People can say whatever they say, but I'm actually convinced now, Louise, that whenever you say something negative, the person that's saying that negative thing, the person that they're saying it about, right? Or the person they're saying it to always thinks to themselves, why are you bagging that person? Is it that you're threatened by that person, right? I think most human beings understand that when you have a go at someone, there's a reason. You've got a reason. You've got a reason for it. And I've got to tell you, to any young guy out there or girl, footloose fancy free that's watching this live or on replay, do not waste this golden opportunity that you may have of no. Like I find it hard to believe, Louise, that often the people that have got the worst time management are the people that have got all the time in the world, right? It's just that they just don't have.
Oh no, the video has just ended. But I got good news for you. If you resonated with this and you want to take the next step and move from just being a sayer to a doer, this is your sign to join the Real Estate Gym, where you can get enormous amounts of content, scripts, dialogues, techniques, processes to help you build an ELF business. Effortless, lucrative, and fun. Press the link right now.
We ready? Motivation to use only. Mentally feel like